Good morning and welcome to the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today I have with me John Gomez. John, are you there?
Hello, Melanie. This is John from Miami, Florida. So a big hello to you and your audience.
And John, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yes, currently I am the Vice President for Revexpo Consulting, which is a business that works towards the top 10 technologies, not only in the United States, but globally for businesses and individuals. So as an organization, our main goal is to support all of these companies that want to work towards the new technologies and exactly, just move forward for what is needed in terms of strategy and marketing in order to apply them into their organization.
Sounds quite in depth. The reason why we're speaking today, John, is what really attracted me talking to you and why I requested you is you're a strategist, and that's quite a specific role in marketing, isn't it?
It is indeed, and given the background that I have first as an artist, I felt the need to extrapolate a little bit, once I became more like the businessman and use all of those tools learned in the arts within the process of, what could be different or the same in the business world. But actually it's quite close. When we think about marketing in business, it's not that far from the arts. Thinking about arts, just to name a few entities, it could be an opera house, it could be a venue, a theater venue, for instance, or an institution. They all want to make sure that they actually can, portray an idea or a vision or a mission to their audience. And the only possible way to do this is by using the marketing, which we know that has changed a lot. Before the pandemic, everyone was more used with what's called the office marketing, everything was in person, which I greatly miss, to be quite honest with you. But the pandemic has, make us change, and this pivoting into how we strategize projects, actually, it makes a big impact in us currently. So now working more towards the online marketing, we have many resources, and as far as using the resources, it's a great, it make it actually easier for the strategists to understand how a business or maybe an individual would like to promote and to arrive to the masses, right? And then the other change that I have noticed is what's called the inbound marketing. So in which, instead of like the old-fashioned organizations trying to go to their consumer, actually now the technology is allowing the consumer to reach the organizations. So it's the other way around, which is a challenge, because then we need to define clearly how we can be different from our competitors. So when someone comes to me and say, John, I would like you to help us, our organization to market. Well, the first question I ask always is like, okay, what we need to market? Do we want to market the organization, or we want to market a product, or we want to market a project? Because you see, for the minds of many, marketing is like the big C, but we don't sometimes don't understand it's that the sea has many fishes. so once we go more specific in terms of marketing, they start to understand that each process is going to be delivered in a different manner.
Are you talking USP?
Exactly. So in my personal way to see it, I like to always think of the strategy and process improvements. So I think both are closely related, because when we think about process improvement, I believe is the first step that we need to take towards the strategy for marketing. I have sat down with CEOs that they still ask me, what do you mean with process improvement? And I said, well, if you think about it, the marketing strategy is not going to work as long as we don't take waste from any process that you are applying currently in your organization.
So how do you
So
work out what that waste is?
yeah, so anything that is delaying the process for you to be successful is what I call waste or defects. So I tend to use at least two concepts. One is called Lean Six Sigma, and the other one is called Kaizen. So these two concepts for process improvement are going to help me to define, number one, what is it what's stopping me from being successful with my project. Let's say my project right now is to do marketing to either my product or my organization. Number two, talking about process improvement, what's the purpose of it? I mean, what's really is going to take me to define within my culture in the organization? It could be one unit or it could be the whole industry. What exactly is going to be the purpose of this process improvement that is going to impact directly the marketing strategy? Then the other question that I may ask them is, what's the focus? What's exactly what is going to be tracking the quantity and the quality of the elements that intervene in this process improvement to clean up, to take the waste away from it, and to not to have effects. So as you see, all this process improvement is little by little, it's going to challenge you to answer certain questions that you may not even think about it in your everyday life, right? When you are
Can you explain what Lean Six Sigma is and Kaiser as well? Are they processes or apps or ethos?
Yeah, there are a few process improvements methodology that are used by businesses, but now what we see is because, a business can be maybe just one person. Why not, right? Because we're using those resources that we can find online. One or two or up to five people can be working, and be the head of their organization. And so what we do as consultants is just to bring these process improvements, in this case, Lean Six Sigma, or Kaizen, to help them with the pre-development of what the marketing is going to be. So anyone who wants to learn Lean Six Sigma will need to register for many different levels of knowledge. And actually it takes lots of time, but anyone can do it. And you can register with organizations that provide the certification for Lean Six Sigma or Kaizen. So these philosophies of methodology actually are bringing quite success to companies. So you'll be surprised how many organizations still don't know what these process improvement methodologies are or how they can be used. But once they find out, for going specific, if your goal is to do marketing for a product or to create marketing for your company, in my opinion, professional opinion, I believe without any of this process improvement, there's probably going to be a very little chance that you become successful. So
wow.
once we have defined this process improvement and we have applied it, and once again, it depends, because you may ask me how much time is going to take to do this.
That's what I was going to ask you, actually, yes.
Depends. Your company, if it's a big company, I mean, I've done projects in which Lean Six Sigma can take up to a year. Imagine. So, because it's an everyday work, and there are many elements that are contained within the process that, unless you don't take the time to do it, some people may say, oh, well, but it's going to take longer than I expected. Yeah, but the result afterward is going to be a long-term positive result. So it is good to clean the process of the functionality of your organization. And then in this case, because we're talking about marketing, apply the marketing strategy. So with the marketing strategy, I like to use a concept that is known in the business world, which is called design thinking. And one of the, challenges that, when I sit down with my, it could be, mentor for companies or other employees for companies, the first thing I ask them, and I'm basing this in design thinking, is what's the empathy that you have for your customers? What's the empathy that you have for your competitors? Because that's the first key element of design thinking. So when we think about design thinking, it's a human-centered concept. It's all about having empathy for those that you may want to help, or you may want to have them to buy your product, or you may want them to follow you as the influencer or as the company, or so the first thing is you have to take the people's first approach, how they see you and what are their problems in their everyday life, because you want to find solution to their problems. You want to find solutions to the inherited desirable, wishes that they may
So
have.
they're pain points. You
Exactly.
ask, so when you go and meet a business owner for the first time, you say, what are your pain points that your customers are experiencing? Because this is what we need to convey as part of the strategy.
Correctly. And then they ask me how we do that. Well, it's very simple, through observation. So observation is actually what is going to give us that world of having that minute detail to what our customers actually need. And once we notice things that others don't, then we are going to be successful. So if I want to market a product for someone who I want them to obtain from my company, the mistake from many organizations is to kind of like anticipate, the need that perhaps doesn't exist from customers. So of course, then you ask yourself, why someone is not buying my product? Why people are not actually feeling in tune with my product? Because it's not a need. So it's the other way around. We kind of have to make it work backwards. So we first
Can
define
you
the
make it a want, John? Because people want stuff and desire stuff. It may not be a need. I mean, nobody needs J-cloths. They can just use clothes, old clothes if they want, but you can make it a desire somehow.
You can make it a desire, but I like to call this the job to be done. If your product is not making a job for me, it's not fulfilling a need that I have, then why I will get it? For instance, I'm gonna give an example. If you think about cars, why people buy cars? Because it gets the job done for the customer. So you buy the car because you need the car for many different reasons. I need the car to transport myself to my job, because I need to go to the supermarket. Well, think about places like Miami. Anyone who knows Miami, they for sure understand that it's not the type of city in which you can make a living without a car. So a car, it's a number one need for anyone who's living in Miami. So when you think about a product, you have to ask to yourself, is getting a job done for them? But how do I know if actually it's getting a job done for them? Well, that's why you have to get close to your customers, and you need to talk to them. You need to observe them. You need to see exactly what is their activity in terms of, for what you want to accomplish. For instance, I'm going to give you another example. In India, 80% of the population did not have a fridge, in their house. Imagine
80?
that 80% of population.
Wow.
So you have this company that said, we need to solve this issue, because the incumbents companies that are creating fridge, they're not doing it for that 80%. They're doing it for that 20% who actually have a physical space in which you can fix the fridge, because you have a house that has a living room, you have a kitchen, right? And you have the money to pay for the product. But that 80%, they don't have actually the physical space, they don't have the money, and they don't even have a kitchen. Sometimes these people actually use the bedroom as the kitchen at the same time. Now, how this company actually figure this out, because they put design thinking into place. So the first thing is they say, let's go to our customers and let's just observe and take notes. And then, they spend, like 6 months just observing them. They will knock their houses, they will sit there, they will just observe, and they notice that to make a fridge for them, it needed to have a certain size. There was lack of power. So question is, how can you create a fridge that is going to be able to still work if there's lack of power? I mean, and you may ask me, what was the first need any of them in average talk about it for having a fridge in their home? And you know what they say? To be able to have a cold glass of water.
Wow.
So when you have that empathy, which is the design thinking, then you can integrate the thinking of your organization. So you can rely actually in analytical problem process. Once you get the matrix for real, and once again, this is not your imagination thinking what I think it is, or based, in the numbers, or because I went to Google and I Google numbers. No, you actually meet your customers before you actually create the product. And then optimism, which is, like I always say, there is always a potential solution for any problems.
That was fascinating. That was an amazing example you gave there, John, of design thinking and how they observed the people in India. And I had no idea it was so high, that there was so few fridges. My goodness. Honestly, you are an absolute font of knowledge. John, is there any way we can learn more about yourself? And if anybody's looking to find a strategist, where would we find out more information about you?
Sure. I have my LinkedIn profile open to anyone who would like to connect with me. I have also Twitter and Facebook. They can find me on my name, John Gomez. Also, more than welcome to assist them through my company, RevExpo Consulting. And I would like to take the opportunity that there are two beautiful concepts that we are creating. One of them is called Internet of Things in the arts and Internet of Things in the educational system for Latin America. And we're doing this because we're living the times of digital transformation. So anyone who would like us to assist them, organizations or individuals, we provide those services, and it will be fantastic. So you can just go www.revexpoconsulting.com.
Yeah, and it's all for smart cities, isn't it?
Yes, that's the future.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I completely agree with you. Well, I could listen to you all day, John, and I'm probably going to talk to you after this podcast. So, but thank you so much for joining us today on the show, and a fascinating topic. I'm delighted that we've managed to speak to a strategist, certainly in your sector. And well, we really look forward to learning more from you at a later stage, hopefully. Well, that's all for now from the Monday Morning Podcast. Thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week, and we'll apprise you during the week of what we've got coming up next. Take care.